Now, a recent survey by Zoopla found that 4 in 10 people admit that they are relying on inheritance for their financial security.
Yes, and with the cost of living increasing, people are now looking into the value of their parents' homes. That's fairly sinister, isn't it? Before they've even passed away.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. No. So this morning, we are asking the question, are you entitled to inheritance? Well, we're joined now by financial influencer Megan Mickle-Wright, who believes we are entitled to it, and comedian Josh Howie, who believes we are not. Very good morning to you both. And Megan, let's start with you, shall we? So you believe we are entitled to inheritance?
Hello, yes, wow. I wouldn't say entitled was the right word. I know you said this just before the break. Entitled is not the right word to use because it sounds like, you think that you deserve it more than anybody else, that sort of stuff. But I think that if somebody wants to leave their inheritance to somebody, especially if they've got a will, who is anybody to argue? A lot of people work hard for their money, and if that is left to their kids, their spouse, whoever it is in the family, then who are we to argue with who is left with that?
OK. Josh, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the problem is the word entitled. My parents can leave the money to whoever they want, hopefully not my sister. And, I think I deserve it more.
Josh.
I mean, I'm much nicer to them. I call them more often. But, yes, it's really their money to do with. But I'm not going to lie. I would like it. I wouldn't turn it down. And I think the other factor is, interestingly, it's not necessarily about wanting the money for you. It's actually I think it's my children's only opportunity to get on the property ladder would be through an inherited wealth.
Yeah, and I think that's something you're going to see more and more often in the future, Megan, where as housing gets so unaffordable as the generations go on, the only people that are going to be able to own houses are those who have had gifts from the so-called mum and dad. The bank of mum and dad, rather.
With the way the economy is going. However, there are so many other ways to get a house, buy a house. And also, when people inherit wealth, it doesn't mean that they are keeping it all for themselves. 40% of that goes to inheritance tax if it is over, the 325k threshold. It is given to the state, so other people do benefit in some form. And people who inherit lots of wealth, not everybody is selfish with it. There are lots of people doing amazing things within property and helping with the property they have and giving it to social housing, emergency housing. So inheriting wealth doesn't always mean it's kept in the family. A lot of people do spread it and help out the wider community with that wealth that they do inherit.
Josh, what do you make of that? Megan's saying there are lots of other ways to get a house deposit together. It doesn't need to be inherited money.
Well, I just don't know if that's true. I mean, here I am in our flat, and the only reason that we managed to afford this was because we lived at my grandmother's for 8 years.
Wow.
And it wasn't 8 years, sorry, it was 4.5 years. And that was how we saved our deposit. And it seems more and more, and that was 10 years ago. Now, I honestly don't know how anybody can afford anything. But we are going to see, I did read an article about how Gen Z is going to go from being this sort of hard done by generation to inheriting the biggest amount of wealth in history ever. And suddenly they're all going to be loaded. And that's why they're going to have to change all the financial products to make them all sort of nice.
And Megan, with that in mind, what do you make of these reports that some people are allegedly looking up the value of their parents' properties to kind of calculate what they're going to get when they
Absolutely, that's why I go around my parents so often. I've just got the tape measure.
I think that is a bit sinister, like you said, but I think that it just shows the state of the economy. That people are having to do that. I don't think anybody's sitting there thinking, I'm the clock's ticking, I'm waiting for it. But people are so financially unstable that that's the levels that they are going to. And it is a shame that that's what it's come to. And, I don't think this comes down to, are we entitled to inheritance? I think it comes down to the government need to do more to help the people that are struggling and make houses more affordable for these people.
It's a sad state of affairs, really, isn't it? Josh, last word to you. Got 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have inspired me, and I will be making sure that I am more involved in my parents' financial situation.
Josh, Megan, really good to see you both this morning. Really good discussion. Thank you very much indeed. You will have an opinion on that at home. Do let us know what you think. gbviews@gbnews.com.
I know of people who do that. They look at the value
price
of
up
it.
that? I really don't like that. That makes me really uncomfortable.
And actually, they're very,
Do you do that?
No, not at all. I don't think, if you get inheritance, that's great, it's a bonus, but I think if you're relying or even expecting anything from your parents, I think you should change your priorities. I think people should be encouraged to be entrepreneurial and ambitious and proactive off their own back and make their own legacy and not rely on mum and dad.
Yeah.